Good afternoon. My name is Efrain Gonzalez. I'm the Associate Director for the Office of Business Development at the Minority Business Development Agency at the U.S. Department of Commerce. We want to welcome everybody for attending today's public meeting, what we're calling the Guidance on MBDA, Applications for Federal Funding. This is a very exciting event for us, and we're so glad that you can participate. Today, we're going to be reviewing the following items. We're going to talk about our meeting guidelines and what this means today in terms of our conversation with you. We are going to introduce our distinguished panel and speakers that are going to share with you some important information. We will discuss the purpose of today's public meeting, and we really want to emphasize who we are as an agency, the Minority Business Development Agency, and to really talk about our programs. We will be doing a brief Q&A, meaning questions and answers, after we do an overview of MBDA. And then we'll continue on with how to write a successful application. There are some lessons learned over the years that we want to share with you for those of you that are interested in competing in any future and upcoming competitions. We also want to talk to you a little bit about a very important item that not too many people understand, and that's single audit and compliance to grants. And last but not least, we'll wrap it up with questions and answers, and we'll close it off. So for today, the meeting guidelines are actually quite simple. This is a public meeting. That means we've invited individuals from across the country to participate in today's conversation to learn more about MBDA and our programs. We have in-house audience, about 60 individuals here with us today, for those of you that are on the webinar. And for those of you that are here with us today in person, we have over 200 individuals participating in the webinar itself. So this makes for a very dynamic environment, and we want to do our best in terms of answering the questions that you may have for today's conversation. We are webcasting, and we are also recording. So that means that in the future, if you've missed any part of this conversation, you will be able to go to MBDA's website, and you will be able to see what it is that we've talked about today. We will also do our best to transcribe the questions that have been asked today and the responses that we provide to you. So again, you will be able to see that information. There's a lot of homework that needs to be done for anybody that's interested in competing for MBDA's upcoming competitions, and we want to talk about that today. We anticipate we will be providing additional and forthcoming information on the MBDA website. We will be uploading what we call our frequently asked questions. Those questions over time will evolve, meaning that when we initiate the FAQs, we will put them out to the public. We will let people know in generality what's going on in terms of our programs. And as we begin the countdown for upcoming competitions, we will also provide general information regarding that. I'll get into the specifics, and with Nikita Chambers, my colleague, more specifics about the actual competition and how it starts, but we will not be going into the details of the competition itself. We're limited to the types of questions we can take and the answers that we can provide. There may be some questions that you ask us that are very specific in nature to the actual competition. If that is the case, we may not be able to answer those questions today, but that's not to say we cannot answer those questions in the future. If there are questions that pertain to any specificity to an actual competition notice, we will have a subsequent opportunity for a different and separate public meeting to talk about the actual competition itself. And it is at that point that we can talk about that type of specificity. So for those of you that are on the webinar, we've invited anybody to come on and to listen and to participate. Some of you have actually signed in and have provided us with your name and email address. Some of you have not. We encourage everybody that's on the webinar to please provide us with that information. So if there are any future updates, we can communicate to you directly. We have also asked our audience in-house to provide us with their business cards so we could do the like. That being said, let's move forward. Here we go. As I said, I'm Efrain Gonzalez. I am the Associate Director in the Office of Business Development at the Minority Business Development Agency. My colleague to the left of me is Nikita Chambers. She's our Program Manager at the Office of Business Development, again, the Minority Business Development Agency. We're going to be asking our colleagues at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, we commonly call NOAA, to participate in today's conversation. We've invited Debbie Chen, who's the branch chief of the Grants Management Division at NOAA, as well as Tracy Jackson, Senior Grants Management Specialist Audits. So the purpose of today's public meeting is to increase the public awareness of MBDA and its programs. We want to acknowledge our Business Center program at MBDA, which happens to be our flagship program and has been in operations for many years. We know that our current program operating cycle ends in calendar year 2016, which is right around the corner. In order to get ready for that new round of awards, we have to anticipate an upcoming competition that will initiate the fall of this year, 2015. We want to educate the public on building better proposals and planning for the upcoming competition. We think this would help to build a broader competition, which is what we're entrusted to do. Now, let us tell you a little bit about MBDA. MBDA is an agency of the U.S. Department of Commerce, as mentioned before, and we're working on in support of their growth and underscore all American business enterprises. The way that we focus on our mission is to promote the growth of minority businesses through the mobilization and advancement of public and private sector programs, policy, and research. For those of you that may not be aware of this, minority businesses and economic our national economy. At last count, and mind you, the data is a little bit old and we anticipate new data will be forthcoming later this year, there were 5.8 million minority businesses in the United States. They created nearly 6 million jobs for US citizens and represented about 21% of all firms in the United States. Our strategic focus is really built on 4 pillars: business development, education, research and information, policy, advocacy, and outreach, as well as operational excellence. Let's talk about business development for a second. We really need to focus and maximize on job creation, global competitiveness for U.S. minority businesses through increased access to capital, contracts, and markets. When it comes to education, research, and information, we want to produce and promote information for and about minority business enterprises. When it comes to policy, advocacy, and outreach, we're focused on creating informed policy agendas to advocate for and to contribute to minority businesses. And last but not least, when it comes to operational excellence, we really want to focus on advancing agency services by being responsive and nimble by rapidly adapting to changes in the minority business enterprise landscape.
The Minority Business Development Agency have 44 business centers nationwide. There are 3 very important components that MBDA focus on. And those components are access to capital. We have an access to capital team, which consists of a team lead and 2 business development specialists. And that area focus on identity broker financing opportunities, financing forums and networking events, identification and closure mergers and acquisitions. The next component, access to capital. That team also consists of a team lead and 3 business development specialists. And with that component, we identify procurement opportunities, post-award contract administration, bid and proposal preparation, business certifications and registration assistance, and we targeted teaming arrangement and joint ventures. The next component we service is access to markets. That team also consists of a team lead and 2 BDS. First of all is MBDA Federal Procurement Center, market research, feasibility studies and promotion, sales and consultant forecasting, business to business matchmaking forms, which are also known as B2Bs, We also have international market analysis and trade assistance. MBDA also specializes in expertise in networking. There are 9 business centers that offer specialty programs. Those programs are advanced manufacturing initiatives, capital initiatives for traditional and alternative financing, export and business linkages in emerging economies, technology transfers, and innovation. MBDA focus on 4 areas of performance. Those areas are, as you can see, contracts and capital, job creation and retention. To see the past 6 years of growth, you can log on to MBDA's website to view our annual performance report, and it'll show you the trajectory of years and how we have advanced in those different performance areas. This concludes the first portion of our webinar, and we will now entertain questions.
We will go to our coordinator. For those of you that are participating via webinar, we will ask to see if there's any questions. We'll give you a couple seconds. And if not, we'll ask if there's any questions in general from our general audience here with us today in New Orleans.